Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. Now, the good news is I have managed to play some off-screen and unlock the next chapter. The bad news is that it has been at least 3 weeks since I last played this game. I had some kind of minor emergency scheduled that was going to take me away from Hand of Fate for a couple of weeks. And then that turned into a medium emergency that took me away for a couple of weeks. And it's still kind of going on, so even now I'm just finding some extra time to hop into this. So, on that aspect, it's kind of nice that I get to try to experience what the experience would be for an average person, somebody who might put down the game and then come back to it. I imagine that experience is going to be pretty poor because now I really don't remember what the cards do and really barely remember how this game even plays. On the other hand, I was also getting very frustrated with this game for the kind of repetitiveness and high difficulty level that it has.
We have all come from the downtrodden.
We can do devil.
We have been unheard. Some of us ascend to great power regardless.
4 lives hang in the balance as a mysterious stranger offers help for a price. Chance, be prepared for chance cards. Empire, be prepared to combat against empire cards. We don't get to pick who our companion is. That being said, I do know that we have brought back the Wanderer companion. So there's that aspect. We haven't completed the servant to have the shadow, and apparently that was not needed. Nor have we unlocked this character, but I imagine with the devil we're going to unlock this character. And maybe this companion will be... Nope, there is no other character, is there? Unless they just make room for another character. So yeah, it's very weird that through the progress of at least the Wanderer storyline, and probably several other storylines, you can kill off characters, and then that becomes a blocking aspect to be able to play the devil element tarot card mission. The hope here is that we can get at least silver on the devil, and then play the sun, and then work our way to the very end of the game. And I assume that the devil character is going to be extremely similar to the shadow character that was added via DLC, if not the exact same kind of character, a vampiric type of character. We do have this, but we can't play this as new. We can take this. Wait, since we don't need that, but we can't actually take that because that requires something too. So it is still going to be a case of, do I want to take things that are... We'll take this one. We could have max platinum cards. Ooh. Well, if that's the case, take every single platinum card you can find. Equipment plus, chance cards, platinum equipment, additional platinum gain, reveal map, and that. I will revert away from reveal map and take that one instead. We are actually in a pretty great position to do that, since the vast majority of these cards are not in question as far as what they do, and until we play at least once, we have no idea if any of these cards would be valuable in any way. That being said, there still is a massive, larger number, not really a massive number, but a larger number of cards at the very front that I'd still like to get those tokens from. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 are shard tokens, which would maybe give you something, but probably is just going to give you cosmetic things. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards that are actual tokens. Now, we once again have this situation where we can have an all platinum lineup, so it almost seems like it would make sense to do that, just to see if there's even an achievement around going all platinum. Although, if you are gonna go all platinum in the equipment, there's still a lot of equipment that have tokens that I'd like to get. There's still new cards. Were we all platinum down here? Yes. We're all platinum here. Of course, the all platinum here is not doable. And so interesting, can't use this unless you have specific companions. And you can start food and fame and gold. Or we could start with just more equipment. But yeah, you can't start with no platinum here. Of course, we have no idea what the offer or the price will be, so this might very well be a case where the very first action in the story is going to be trade fame, trade food, trade health, trade gold, or it might be give up a card. We can only jump in and see. What I am hoping is that this will be fairly easy,
they have their own,
but I see no reason why it really would be.
Yet their stories have ended, or they would be here by your side, would they not?
Ominous news. You arrive at a tavern one evening, anxious to settle beside a roaring fire with your companions. As you enter, however, you are surprised to find no familiar faces. Oh, so this might be a case that each of the companions you have found so far in the main companion lock are part of the storyline and are potentially going to die. Of course, I don't think the deaths would really be permanent, and so that might be the reason why you needed all the companions to be alive at the start. But that does open up a very terrible door, in which if you fail this mission the first time, you might kill off one or more, maybe 4 of your companions, and then have to grind in ways to bring them back to life before you can play the devil mission again.
Ho, 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 you make a poor apprentice. Cultivate focus.
After a meal and several hours of waiting alone, a priest rushes in. Your friend Ariadne lies stricken at our temple. You arrive at the temple to find Ariadne lying on a simple bed attended to by the church official. He explains that she has been stricken with dark magic that is slowly draining her life. Somehow, this malady resists our attempts. This malady resists our attempts at curing. The official says sadly, "It is as if her very soul were poisoned. I'm sorry, but our time is limited." Now, it's like I said at the beginning, it's been a very long time since I last played this, but I can't help but feel like there was a somewhat similar mission in one of the companions' quest lines where they got sick and we had to go on a quest to get some kind of cure. So this doesn't feel as unique as it should be. The official leaves, shaking his head. "It is not my place to say," the young cleric whispers, "but perhaps there are other places you may seek help. In my work helping northern refugees, I have heard tales of their high priestess, the mystic of sorts who moves freely between the realm of men and the world beyond. If anyone can help you, your friend, it would be her. You know that the northern priestess will not see you unless you possess enough blessings, but you have few options. With the young cleric's help, you ready Ariadne for transport and leave the temple." So we needed blessings. We could have started with one blessing. So this might be a pure strategy move in which you just needed to start with that one blessing. You find a weapons merchant carriage packed behind a seedy tavern. "Sorry I had to dash last time," Esmeralda says as she welcomes you in. "I've come by a surplus of wares from the Battle of Crimson Bay. You can take one for being so accommodating last time. It's on the house." Okay. So. Which of these shall we select? This would be wheel gambits. This we can't use. This we can't use, so we'll just start with that. Armed with your new equipment, you bid Esmeralda good evening and continue your journey.
Given times are so dark, you are lucky to have allies willing to assist.
What's funny is that this immediately triggered this surprise introduction event, which I don't recall the game really working that way, but okay. You're walking past a black plain-looking carriage when the door suddenly opens and a huge pair of hands lifts you inside. The carriage leaps forward as the door is shut, and you find yourself sprawled on a seat opposite a huge, powerfully built but unusually ugly man. "Lord Apollyon requests your presence," the half-ogre declares. The creature is silent for the rest of the journey until you arrive at an impressive manor house. You exit the carriage and are brought to a large hall for an audience with Lord Apollyon. The great adventurer herself, Apollyon begins smiling broadly and stepping forward to greet you. He bows slightly. "Command to know why you were summoned." Greet him graciously, I guess. "I've heard of your exploits, and I am too but a servant of the Empire and its people. I'd like to offer my services if you ever have need of them. I don't presume to wield a sword or dodge a claw troll as well as you, of course, but I do try to support good people with their supplies and such, especially heroic figures such as yourself. Apollyon invites you to stay and entertain him with stories of your adventure so far. He seems captivated by every word, and several hours pass quickly. You lead an incredible life. I hope you return soon with more enchanting tales." Apollyon takes an item from many adoring the walls, saying, "Please accept this paltry gift. Perhaps it will help you rescue your friend."
I would have thought you'd find few cowards on the battlefield.
So, inherently, I don't think I have gotten achievement for having so many platinum items to start with, but maybe I'll get one for having so many platinum items interacted with. Otherwise, we can't use that yet. Allow my coachman to take you back, and please come visit me again at any time. So, Lord Apollyon is now a possibility if we want to just go and see if we can get more items. So, yeah. We can only really do one thing so far. Let's go forward.
An opportunity for you to show your skills extend beyond mere violence.
Against your better judgment, you decide to appeal to the Thieves Guild for their patronage to help fund the journey ahead. Right, so, chance card. We fail. Let's see. So we'll lose half of our gold. Well, we don't even do that. Okay. So, if we needed blessings, pretty obviously, we're not getting it here.
You have to wonder why anyone would help you. At least my motives are clear.
How goes your quest to save Ariande? Lord Apollyon asks. Explain you lack the blessings required to visit the High Priestess. Say that you have the blessings required. We don't. Perhaps I could be of some assistance. I must confess I have a weakness for game of chance. Apollyon leads you to a table in another room. A set card's already set upon you. If you win, I'll provide the blessings you require. Apollyon nods. Yes, I have the means. You'd be surprised what magical trinkets end up in my possession as part of my work. If I win, you must pose with me for my next portrait. It will be titled Champions of the Empire. Perhaps I shall have a statue made of us as well. He gestures for you to sit. I'll even stack the deck in your favor. After all, I enjoy the excitement of the game and care little for actual winning, except I'm sure you'll do well. Apollyon smiles. So, but this is going to come down to just you need to win at these card games. So, starting with a bunch of platinum cards, while normally would work, here it's less useful, which maybe highlights how the platinum cards aren't as platinum as I might like them. Well done. Apollyon claps in appreciation. I think you've played this game before. He gestures to a darkly robed man who you failed to notice standing in a shadowed corner. The man comes to stand before you, his deep voice slowly intoning words in a foreign tongue. My associate is a follower of an ancient religion that you may not be familiar with, but rest assured that his devotion is second to none. As you sit through the lengthy ritual, you feel yourself drifting in and out of consciousness, whether from the droning voice or the potential increased incense being burned, you cannot say. So we now have 1, 2, 3, and 4 blessings. You suddenly awake, Apollyon watching you with mild amusement. From across the table, I expect you'll want to begin your journey to the High Priestess. Immediately, I sincerely hope your friend makes a full recovery.
Devils wait in the darkness, but which devil will you focus on?
As you pass near a darkened alleyway, one evening a blackened and misshapen hand grasps you, pulling you close to the darkness. You stand at the precipice of ruin. The Dark Lord has taken an interest in your destiny, and even now is engineering your downfall. The hunched creature pulls you with surprising strength further into the shadow. But I can help. There is magic that I can beat him at his own game. We can craft it, you and I. Doing so may test your spirit, but that's better than eternal darkness, hey? He looks up at you, his yellow eyes glowing faintly. Do not fall to despair. We will meet again soon. So, seems like maybe we shouldn't trust this Lord Apollyon, would be my guess.
You must ponder the ties that begin to bind.
But
The
we
trap
really didn't have much
is
of a
slowly
choice.
laid for you.
You cross the northern border and prepare yourself for a long journey up Mount Fiendish. You are surprised, however, to find a band of northern warriors waiting for you. The High Priestess is expecting you, the leader of the band declares. With their guidance and protection, you quickly find yourself once more in the ritual house of Esmeralda. Clearly, this is just the storyline bringing back characters and reminding you of some of the plot in the other quests from a while ago, which, while helpful for me who hasn't played the game in a while, would feel repetitive, and even now still feels a little repetitive. I know why you're here. The giantess begins moving to inspect Ariande. She quickly sneers, saying, "It's no wonder your holy people cannot heal her. This is no minor curse or spell from a magician. A beast of the underworld has tainted your friend's spirit, and without my help she will die." Esmeralda pauses to consider you, her gaze boring into your soul. "I think your fate will be to one day destroy the one who brings ruin to my people. Until then, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yes." The Queen of Frost sends you to another room as she prepares a ritual. It's too much reading. Many hours later, you are summoned again. You find the Queen standing over Ariande, who, apart from being famished, appears fully recovered. "Leave when you are ready," Esmeralda declares, turning to leave. "But heed my warning, hero. A shadow hangs over your soul. Stray but a little and you will fail, to the ruin of us all." Malclips told me he was going to the village of Rumstock to investigate a rumor of a magical artifact. Ariande explains as you leave the ritual house. "I was to meet him there some days ago." So we now have one companion, but it feels like
I cannot understand how
we're
you come
doing
to be here
a
now, given the challenges
completely
that have stood
different
before
quest.
you.
Now, for Malclips, as you journey towards Rumstock, I really could use a fight at this point. As you journey towards Rumstock, you are disquieted by an increasing number of rumors concerning the village. It seems that every traveler coming from that direction has heard of terrible ritualistic murders being performed in the woods nearby. The rumors also suggest the mage responsible has been captured, disguised himself as a bard. One fellow declares, "I saw him with my own eyes, and he has the look of a killer." "Don't worry," continues the man, "there'll be justice served for those poor souls when that necromancer burns at the stake." So that sounds like Malclips is going to be burned at the stake. So the question is, do we have a need for more items, or should we just leave the area? I don't think we need gold as much as we need supplies, so let's take supplies. We do probably have enough gold that we could see what's available for trade. Yeah, we don't have enough for that. And all of my equipment seems to be fairly useless at the moment. You're camped on the other side of the road one moonless night when a familiar pair of yellow eyes suddenly appears beyond the light of the campfire. "You have glimpsed your doom, I take it. The curse is in the cards, you know." He limps from the shadows to sit next to you, although somehow the fire fails to eliminate his form at all. The spell that will be your salvation requires several unique ingredients, the cloaked figure explains. Your first task is to harvest a horn of a diabolic creature. I know of one that will be easy to overcome, he says, producing a silver whistle from his cloak. Strike quickly. He pauses. Dad, or it may escape, and you will spend countless lifetimes regretting it. The whistle releases a sharp note, and a fiery portal appears between the two of you. A short horned creature steps out as the portal closes again. Hey, Theophilus, you called, the devil asks, looking up at him. The child-sized creature seems oblivious to your presence for the moment. Strike the creature from behind, asked the creature for its horn. He said strike quickly. Let's strike. With a mighty blow to its head, you knocked the devil unconscious. Soon you have removed one of the beast's horns and handed it to Theophilus, who places it in a sack made from the same dark material as his cloak. That will do for the first element. I must immediately prepare it, Theophilus says, turning to leave. He regards the limp form of the hellspawn. Do not be here when it wakes up, mortal. It will be angry, and you have not the means to kill it. So, gambling in the first section doesn't feel wrong. Knocking somebody out and stealing the horn does feel a lot more wrong. Let's see what we can buy from a general store. Not really much, unless we want to sell something. Can't use that anyways, so sell it. And then let's see if we can buy some equipment now. Can't use that, so we'll take that. And the odds of us running low on food is just almost zero. The problem here, though, definitely feels like I want an encounter to happen, something more action-based, something more interesting. You return to the fine mansion of Lord Apollyon and are granted with immediate whatever. You say your another friend is in peril. Lord Apollyon remarks how fascinating. You relate some detail as to Malaclypse's situation. We live in dangerous times indeed, Apollyon says, shaking his head. Do you have a plan to save Malaclypse? Lord Apollyon says. You explain you have not yet visited the village of Rumstock to assess the situation. I expect you want to travel there immediately in order to save your friends. Would you like to transport there? Yes. My butler will show you to the stables and summon him with a small bell. Take Bluetail, she's the fastest. Lord Apollyon's stables turn out to be a house to house an extensive array of animals. You are helped onto Bluetail's back, and the griffin rises into the air.
So the noose begins to tighten, and we question the very stakes.
You arrive at the outskirts of the village of Rumstock, where Malaclypse is being held captive. I guess we have to approach the village and go to the next level. A wooden stake with brushwood piled around it stands in the village center. A few peasants stand around talking eagerly about the impending doom of the so-called necromancer. You track down the town's mayor, who despite your pleas refuses to consider sparing the mage's life. The creature is bound head to toe in blessed iron. He'll stay that way until burning under a full moon. Good, decent folk from this town have been murdered, and I will see to it that they receive justice. You plead Malaclypse's innocence. And who are you that we should listen? The mayor exclaims. It would take more than the word of a nameless mercenary to free this creature of darkness. Okay. So then I guess at that point we need to go back and then we confess that we cannot convince the village of Rumstock to free him. Those dreadful peasants in the province can be savage folk, appalling to us, but I have a solution. If you'll but play cards once more. If you win, then I will use my considerable influence to spread word of your great deeds in service to the people. Bards will sing your praises across the empire. Rabble love nothing more than a hero, a real defender of the people, Apollyon explains dryly. If it helps, I'll even have my personal herald accompany you. Your needs are more particular in this case, so I must insist that you up the ante. If I win, you must stay and entertain my guests with tales of your adventure. What do you say? Does this prospect of another winning hand entice you? So, it doesn't seem like there's another way to play this quest. It definitely seems to me like the move is to just win at the cards. I don't see a way with no fights that you would have gained any fame at all. I put my best platinum cards into the starting deck and it really would not get me anywhere close to 40 fame. That's the spirit, Apollyon exclaims with a laugh. So, Ariande offering to help, we will say yes. We will say duplicate this card. And I think that's a success. Yes, it is. We also had a blessing, which would have helped me with the success that we don't need to use. Another win, Apollyon exclaims, you are adept at both combat and the finer arts. I show my plans with my associates tonight to support your cause, Apollyon declares. By the time you reach Rumstock, your name will be legend. So we've gained exactly 31 fame, so starting with extra fame didn't even matter. We could have started with something better. Although I'm not sure what the better thing is, considering we're not fighting here at all. If we always got really good blessings, then particularly this one, we would do very, very well in this mission every time. But our companion Ariande helped us with the card gamble, and unless we keep her as our companion, which I question that we are going to, we're going to get Malclips, and then Malclips won't be that useful. As you approach a woman tending a garden spots you. She sends her child to fetch the mayor. Minutes later, a throng of other villagers approach, led by a balding man. Look, someone calls out, the hero of the empire is in our village. You're here for the demon, of course, the mayor says as he approaches. You must have heard that we've captured it ourselves. The peasants all cheer. Don't worry, the mayor continues. We intend to burn it during the full moon. You ask the mayor to take you to Malclips, who you find sitting in a small cell bound in silver chains set with glowing runes. With some effort, you manage to convince the mayor to release him into your custody for proper disposal. I'm sure you know best when it comes to creatures of this underworld, the mayor says, but we have the fire planned and everybody is coming. Perhaps you could stay just until the full moon, he asks hopefully as you lead Malclips away. So we now have another 8 fame. At the end of the village, the mayor reluctantly removes Malclips' chains and stands well back as you leave. Thanks, Malclips says. Those country folk weren't kidding around. He goes to relate how he was set upon as he entered the village, being accused for some local murders involving magic. It sure seemed that they knew I was coming. And where did they get those anti-magic chains from? You fill Malclips in on what happened to Ariande. What about Australia and Colborne? He asks as you begin your journey back towards the capital. So now we are level 4.
So many enemies await you, and so many would stop you moving forward.
See, this all just kind of feels like you're being distracted by your companions being captured, while meanwhile something else is happening behind the scenes, it feels like. The next day you stop to rest in a small inn. There are a few other patrons as you consume a sparse meal before retiring to your room. Moments later you hear a noise at the window. It suddenly opens, allowing a hooded stranger to slip inside. Relax your sword arm, mercenaries, the woman exclaims, warding you away with a open hand. I seek only to deliver a message that your colleague Colborne has been acquired by the guild. You see, she continues leaning against the window sill. With recent setbacks to our income potential, we have expanded to our enterprises with kidnapping and so on, and a rival tribe has an impressive bounty on your friend's head. So maybe I shouldn't have bought that equipment now, because I did spend about 45 gold. It's all just business. For only 150 gold you can buy your friend's life back. Bring the gold to the East Market Square and someone will contact you. Yeah. It's just really not a high chance that you ever would have gotten 150 gold any other way. And I feel like the trick here is you've got to accomplish at least one of these quests, if not all of them, without the assistance of Lord Apollyon. Otherwise, well, I can't say how he'll be treated by those barbarians. The cloaked woman says as she ducks back out the window, vanishing into the darkness once more. Yeah. I would need the Loan Shark card and Goblin Town to get anywhere close to 150 gold. Yeah, that only got me to 89 out of 150. I got lucky there. I get 3 food for getting lucky.
Everything is a wager, but our difference is that we understand the game must have rules and definitions if it is to bind.
Now what's funny here is we have a token card for an event card that I think is unique to this quest. And that seems weird. Doesn't feel like I've seen that before, although I'm not certain. You enter a tavern one evening just as a gang of soldiers rise angrily from the table, leaving just a well-dressed civilian seated. "You cheating son of a harpy," one of them yells. "Gentlemen, please, I cannot help it if Lady Luck is taking to me this fine evening." "Nobody's that lucky," the soldier exclaims, drawing a sword. The other soldiers advance around the table. The unarmed man suddenly leaps from his chair and ducks behind you, saying, "Mercenary, I implore you. I am but a humble and honest merchant in need of aid. Save me from this band of treacherous friends whom I've offended merely by playing fairly a number of games of chance, and I'll pay you gold." "Hey, that's our gold," Hansel, the soldiers cry. So, obviously the move here is to defend Hansel from the soldiers. "We warned you, stranger." Hansel runs and hides behind the bench, his money bags clinking loudly as the battle begins. Now, I did want an action sequence here, but also I have forgotten what all the buttons are. Let's see. Alright. So there's a lot of room here for better playing. This is going incredibly terribly. Seems like my sword that I'm working with right now So, despite my desire for interesting action here, it's pretty obvious that I can't afford to really play that many fighting sequences because it is going to cause the death of me. And that would really suck, because the only way to fix this situation is for me to just grind out off screen and play the game and try to regain and remember how to press the buttons and what the timings on the buttons are. The timings and the controls in this game are always fairly clunky, and I suspect it would take me quite a few hours to get back to 100% of where I was before, and I don't think I was even doing particularly well before. So fingers crossed this is just like the last fight. But even if it is the last fight for this quest line, it doesn't actually fix the problem of the next quest line. We still think there are like 2 or 3 tarot cards to finish the story, and almost certainly those 2 or 3 remaining quests are going to be much heavier into the fighting, but we'll deal with that when we reach it. Having dealt with the threat of the vengeful soldiers, you turn to find Lucky Hansel lying still behind the bench, a northern warrior crouched over him. You gain 2 fame. A man who cheats has no honor, the northerner says matter-of-factly, sheathing his knife and heaving the merchant's money bags. You will not cheat me again. The northerner moves to exit the tavern, gold in hand. Search Hansel, stop the northerner from escaping with the gold. Assume were you supposed to stop the northerner. Alright.
Patience. Do not move too quickly, for haste breeds only failure.
Yeah. That would have been really hard to do. After a brief struggle, the northerner slips from your fingers and escapes through a window. An Empire captain arrives with 12 men, and after some brief questioning, soon leaves to pursue the northerner. You slip out the back before more soldiers arrive. So we failed at that quest, and we didn't get any gold from that. So everything went badly there. So back to Lord Apollyon. You say another one of your friends is in peril. Lord Apollyon remarks, how fascinating. You relate some details. Colborne's situation. We live in dangerous times indeed, Apollyon says, shaking his head. I see you still bear the marks of battle yourself, Apollyon remarks, sending his butler for a healing potion. So I imagine Lord Apollyon is just making all of this happen for his own form of toying with you or entertainment. Let's see, how goes your quest to save Colborne? Explain you do not have the ransom gold. I'd like to help if I may. Apollyon says, would you mind terribly indulging me in another little game? If you win, then I'll give you the required gold to pay the ransom for your friend. No need to repay it, no strings attached. If I win, then shall we say you owe me a day's service, Apollyon suggests. I have business interests in the northern hills that require some important deliveries. As you know, land is still rife with northern warriors, despite the Empire's claims. How about an adventure Colborne's life could be saved with a turn of the card? I probably shouldn't talk to him yet, because if I just did one more event, I would reset my companion card, which seems to still be Ariande, which would be helpful in this situation. Luck is not with you today, it seems. Let's play again. If I win the next round, you must act as my personal gardener at the next Winter Solstice Festival. Finally. Perhaps you were toying with me in that for that first game, Apollyon suggests dryly. With a gesture from Apollyon, a small humanoid creature brings you over a chest of gold. We get 150 gold, which now puts us way higher. I hope with the gold, you and your friends back in one piece. Do visit again sometime and let me know how it went. Alright. Since we have some extra money, let's buy some equipment. And I feel like just for consistency's sake, it's probably worth it to do all the quests before we leave. You sit resting next to the river one afternoon when Theophilus' dark form rises slowly from the water and limps towards you. He appears completely dry when he stops before you. Mortals are often contemplate their own doomed existence in the light of the setting sun, but yours is more doomed than most. What should we should make some progress on your spell. Ask what is required next. The next step is normally as difficult to achieve as obtaining a devil horn, but luck is with us again. The agent of your downfall has provided us exactly what we need. He gestures, and your skin begins to glow. To possess so many blessings is a rare for a mortal. I shall add their power to the mix. Theophilus opens a small vial toward you, and with a sickening tug, you feel some part of you torn away. Okay, well, we don't need this one at all. I don't think need this one. And we want to get rid of that one. So 3, but keep Guardian Angel. That's the one that's really been helpful. This will do nicely, Theophilus says with a satisfaction as he seals the urn. Never lose hope, mortal, he calls as he returns to the river. The Dark One may still lose his prize yet. Now, it would be fairly boring if it turned out that the evil-looking weird creature is the devil and the bad guy in the story, and Lord Apollyon is the good guy in the story. You would have to expect that there would be a twist.
Your allies, of course, help in times of trouble, but when the tables are turned...
Of course, the bigger and more interesting twist would be to not rely on either one of them and accomplish the quest on your own. You find yourself in the eastern district of the capital approaching the markets. The Thieves' Guild would undoubtedly find you there and demand their ransom gold. You enter the wide courtyard filled with the stalls and milling citizens. Within moments, you are roughly drawn into a shady corner, protected from prying eyes by a variety of hanging carpets. Hello again, the cloaked woman begins brightly, her two beefy companions silently taking position on either side of you. How did we go? Are we saving any lives today? You hand over a sack of coins, which is promptly seized by one of the larger men. Hope that wasn't too much trouble to get your hands on, the woman commented as the coins are counted. Eventually, the man nods and the woman and the two men leaves, taking the gold. No hard feelings, hey, it's just business. The woman smiles, drawing up her cloak. Suddenly, she dashes away, vanishing behind a pile of rolled up carpets. Afraid that you might have just been hoodwinked, you wander back through the crowds, in time to see Colborne being thrown from a moving wagon. You paid them, he says, standing and brushing himself off. I owe you my life. I don't know where getting the extra fame is doing anything for you in this quest. Colborne relates his tale of capture and confinement by the guild. Australia wasn't with me when I was taken. I don't know what fate has befallen her. So we're now at the last.
One has to wonder why a
character
sudden
to
wave
save.
of carelessness has overtaken your allies.
Yeah, this is going to be a longer episode, I think. It just makes sense to continue playing than try and break it up into two. A herald enters the marketplace and announces that Captain Estrella Fioria, traitor to the Empire, has been captured. She has been sentenced to death by the Emperor himself. The herald continues, let her fate be an example to all who would consider defying his will. It won't work, interrupts the commoner. The more executions he hands out, the more the free people will rebel. The Emperor is cracking down on the lawlessness running rampant in the cities, the herald responds, and you sound like a rebel yourself. Discreet inquiries leads you to learn that Australia is being held in a remote Empire stronghold, but nobody claims knowledge of where it is. So interesting, it is too far away on the table. We haven't seen this before, so you don't seem like you can reach it. How will we ever rescue Australia if we cannot even find her? Ariandi asks in anguish. We see Lord Apollyon. And it feels like if we go and try and gamble with him again, there's just going to be 4 failure cards. And you can't win. We will take a platinum equipment card.
For a mightier warrior than you, I think.
That has not really done anything for us other than give us 8 fame, which was not helpful.
Although you clearly dabbled with gods to arrive here, you do not need them. You have your own strengths.
So we don't know what shrine did before, so now we can figure that out. Your quest brings you to a remote shrine high in the mountains. It is revered among the few local peasants for its remarkable healing properties. You kneel down before the shrine and beseech the gods to take pity on you. And this is just a dice roll.
Back to the bones. I hope you have learned to be their master.
We get lucky on the first roll. Sunshine appears through the break in the clouds to bathe you in the radiant glow. And gives us some max life gain, which is nice, but again, probably not that necessary. And we have our companion for a card game. I guess the real question would just come down to, do we want to buy anything? With all these platinum items, I suppose we could sell things like crazy. That might be an interesting way to get a bunch of gold for that second quest. Let's see what this does. The Gray Traveler. One day you come across a man wrapped in a torn gray cloak sitting on the rock by the path through sparse woods. Greetings, mortal, Theophilus utters as you stop. The next element of the magical salvation is approaching. He begins without bothering to stand. You will meet a traveler on the outskirts of the first. Trade with him to obtain the feather of an angel. Do not reveal what use you would have for it. I wish you luck. Theophilus quietly sits as you continue on. Not long, you meet with a dwarf bristling with bags and sacks and other knickknacks. Let's trade, he suggests. I'm sure we can come to a mutually beneficial transaction. As it happens, I do have an angel feather that I traded from a kobold mystic in the western province. Do you need it for any particular reason? The dwarf asks shrewdly. You begin the negotiation. Okay. I'm gonna say don't use her ability right now. 50-50 shot's pretty good. There we go, got lucky. You managed to convince the dwarf that the feather is probably a fake, worth little more than a few beads and the torn half of a map you find in your pack. The dwarf is barely out of sight when Theophilus is suddenly beside you, saying the dwarf has never had such a valuable prize in his possession, and perhaps never will again. But now it's time for the spell to be completed. Theophilus takes the feather and adds it to the spell concoction. The vial gives a silent, bright flash, then returns to normal. At last, Theophilus cries in excitement. After all these years, I will be free. You lunge forward, reaching for the vial, but Theophilus is already opening it. Okay. We can hit that big silver
That will
spot
set
pretty
you in
easily.
good stead from here.
No, Theophilus cries as you wrestle the vial from his grasp. Please, mortal, you don't understand. This is my only chance for freedom. Let's see. Ask for him to explain himself. I was like you once, full of purpose and an inflated sense of destiny. Theophilus says bitterly, I dared to stake my soul on a card game. I have been enslaved since before the Empire formed, before even the Dragon Slayers waged their war. I have seen and done things that would drive you to madness. Without the vial, I shall suffer countless lifetimes more. Let's give him the vial. You give it to me willingly. I do not know your every deed or exploit, hero, but I do know that this is the greatest mercy you have ever performed. Theophilus drinks the contents of the vial. I now have one last game to play, that I may win my freedom, he says as he fades away. So it seems like we didn't quite get what we wanted there. Maybe we should have kept the vial for ourselves. Return to the fine mansion of Lord Apollyon and are granted an immediate audience. You say another of your friends is in peril. Lord Apollyon remarks, how fascinating. It's the same lines of dialogue. You relate the details of Australia's situation. We live in dangerous times indeed, Apollyon says, shaking his head. How goes your quest to save Australia? Ask for help. It's no trivial thing you wish to gamble for these days, Apollyon says, looking concerned. Even I cannot sway the Emperor's decision on your friend, and helping you intervene would be tantamount to treason. Perhaps if you win, then I could give you the means to rescue your friend, Apollyon concedes. But if I were to make such a gamble, then you must risk something equally significant. Apollyon leads forwards, fixing you with a gaze. If I win, you must serve me until I release you, or until I die. Of course. Apollyon smiles softly at the suggestion. So here we go. If he wins, you're his slave forever, and he's a devil, so he's probably lives forever. Well, Champion Napoleon asks, clearly eager to begin the game, are you willing to gamble one life for another? I think you have to accept here. We don't have any other options. Napoleon smiles wickedly and deals the cards. They're all failures. That's what I thought. So why even use my ability here to duplicate a failure card? And we can redraw, but what does it matter? They're failure cards. And now you are mine, Napoleon says, standing. He gestures for you to rise, and you feel unnaturally compelled to do so. Follow me, hero, and we shall see what mischief we can put your talents to now. Napoleon leads you through a door etched with strange symbols and down a long set of stairs into darkness. Your old life and fate of the Empire is left behind forever.
The impossible seems out of your grasp, at least for now.
So, inherently, we don't know everything that would have come about from that. But we kind of know most things that would have come about from that. Let's see. Let's see. Like
I guess that card is one of your favorites. I don't see the appeal.
We could take that one. That one seems still good. We can take that one. That one seems still good. This gives you equipment. Do you even really need equipment, or do you really need max life? Can take that one. And frankly, I don't know if it really changes anything otherwise to go through too many more of these. Yeah, because I don't think any of these other actions do anything for you. It would come down to the equipment, really. Would be helpful. Instead, you were going to fight the Empire, and I really have not seen... I didn't see an Empire fight happen there. So it seems like you're going to fight the Empire exactly once at the end. We could take something like that. Value of items could be considered as far as just how expensive they are to sell. And the golden shield, the exquisite blade, that might be how this breaks down more, is that you get some items for free, and then they are so expensive that you can sell them to finish that 150 gold without gambling with Lord Apollyon which means then you can gamble at the last time. Random encounters being revealed. I don't know if that really is that helpful. And there should be something here. It also would be helpful for the card gambling. Chance card gamble. Shuffle one less down to a minimum of one shuffle. I don't know if that's going to be really that helpful. Avoid failure. One failure goes red. Slowing down the swinging of a pendulum might be helpful in one situation. A white beam might be helpful. Should take that card and figure out what that does. See if any of these other rings do anything helpful. What's the value of this ring? 20. We'll take something with an item on it. Alright, and then obviously you don't really need to start with gold. And starting with an extra fame seems to be pretty useless. But you also kind of don't need to start with weapons. Max life also doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay. So I definitely hoped that in this episode I would have gotten very lucky and succeeded on the double card quest. It does seem pretty obvious that we've got to accomplish at least one of those 4 encounters without the assistance of Apollyon, and the gold is probably the one of the 4 encounters that is most likely to be the one that can be accomplished without gambling with Apollyon, which makes me think if we don't gamble one time and use his help, we'll have the ability to actually win. We will obviously in the next run make sure we stack the deck and have the vial with us, so in case that's not the case. But yeah, it seems like it is a very short and very straightforward mission, and yet it still has taken an hour to play through it once, and at that we didn't succeed. So I am definitely feeling what I recall were the same problems as Hand of Fate 2, in that it just takes a little too long. It's a little unfair that you have to play the entire mission just to know what is going to happen, to plan and schedule. It doesn't have any real strategy element to the game when you just don't know what's going to happen or even have a general idea of what's going to happen. It is clearly not really respecting the player's time much here by making every single player play every single mission at least twice, often more than twice. So, yep. I definitely didn't come back to this game after a long break feeling as refreshed as I would have liked or as excited about it. I definitely am much more in the field of wanting to just be done with the game. But hopefully we can actually be done with the game through success and not just through an eventual abandoning of our efforts. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.